Hey there, welcome to the Hot Slice Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy White, editor-in-chief of Pizza Today magazine. Today, I am joined by the one and only Denise Greer, executive editor of Pizza Today. Hey, Denise.
Hey, the one and only. I like the sound of that. Yeah, I'm doing well.
It's a fact. There is one and only one executive editor of Pizza Today in this entire world, and that's you.
Hey, I'm just blessed to have it.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. That's right.
We have another one and only today. We'll talk about our guest briefly, and then we'll talk the industry a little bit. But our guest today is going to be Mr. Paulie Gee. He is also a one and only. He opened a pizzeria in Brooklyn, New York, in Greenpoint Avenue, I believe. Here's a guy who spent his career, 3 decades, is my understanding, in the corporate world. He was in IT, and something began to fester within him, began to eat at him, that this is not what I need to be doing with my life. I want to operate a restaurant. I have a passion for pizza. He, over time, went from pizza enthusiast to pizzeria owner. And then he's in New York City. He's in the borough of Brooklyn. He is in the hottest, most iconic pizza market in the United States. And in short order, he was literally one of the hottest, most popular, most talked about pizzerias in New York. And that's mind-boggling. He'll share that story with us when we bring him on. But before we get to the one and only Paulie Gee, you have some things on your mind, Denise. We are in mid-September. We're heading into fall. We're heading into cooler weather. With the COVID pandemic ongoing, a lot of restaurants aren't open for dine-in, and they've been focused this summer on al fresco dining, seating people on their sidewalks, serving them outdoors. It's not too long from now, it's going to be too cold for that.
Yeah, I've been having those talks with operators now, and it is a concern for a lot of operators that are trying to do things, outside of their business. But much of the country is going to have trouble here really soon with operating in that manner. So the one thing that I think we need to share with operators is that it's really time to put that action plan into place to, up your delivery game, up your carry-out game, because you're not going to be able to depend on this outdoor. And by the looks of it, the COVID-19 is still going strong. It's lingering. And I'm afraid that dine-in still is not going to be available once the weather turns. So it's better to be prepared. And then maybe if dine-in happens, it'll be fine. But it's better to be prepared to have that carry out. I know operations that actually put a hole in their building so that they could put in a drive-through. Like that's how much people are thinking about expanding and really looking at their carry-out game. With online ordering and third party, and there are lots of opportunities out there. What's your best advice, do you think, for them?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little concerned myself, and here's why. We are heading towards cold and flu season on top of dealing with a national pandemic. And what's going to happen in late October, November, December, I'm afraid, flu surfaces throughout the country. Cold season hits us, every little sniffle, every little body ache, you don't know. Is this a cold? Is this a flu? Is this COVID? I'm going to have to go to the doctor and get tested. I'm going to have to tell my employees not to come to work today because she has a sniffle. Or he told me his throat was scratchy. What? Now what do I do? We're gonna face these problems, and it's going to be a tense winter. I'm afraid. As far as the indoor dining, look, that is all regulated on a state and county level. It's different throughout the country. We're going to have some places at 50% capacity. We're going to have others at 25% capacity. We're going to have others no dine-in. If you are a pizzeria owner and you have been seating customers outdoors and you have been serving them outdoors, and you're in a northern state and it's going to get too cold to continue that service, you've got to up your carry out and delivery game. You've got to make sure you've got optimal packaging that will allow your entire menu, not just your pizza, but your entire menu to arrive at its destination, still hot, still fresh, still appetizing, appealing, edible. You should probably start marketing online ordering, start advertising that, start having dialogues with your customers about ordering online, trying to push them to online orders, because as we all know and as we've all seen over the years, ticket averages do go up when customers order online. That's because they have, instead of just calling in or walking in and saying, yeah, I'll take a pizza and some breadsticks, they have the entire menu laid out in front of them, and they get, oh, wow, I didn't even know they had mozzarella triangles. Or, yeah, I think I want to add a salad. Yeah, I want to add an extra sauce to that salad. I want to add extra cheese to my pizza. Yeah, I'd like to add this. Yes, I'd like to add that. Sure, throw that in too. Oh, 2 liters? Yeah, why not? And next thing you know, an average ticket goes from $16, $17 to $23, $24. Those sales are crucial to pizzeria owners right now. If they can direct customers online, that's a win-win, in my opinion. Denise, the operators that you're talking to about this, that have expressed concerns to you, that have said, look, I'm in Minnesota, I'm in New York, I'm in Philadelphia, I'm in North Dakota. Man, it gets really darn cold here in December, January, February. Let me tell you, what solutions have they presented to you? What have they told you they are planning to do?
A lot of them have, they've established a specific takeout and carry out program where it's no contact. They have their systems down, and well, some of them have, if they didn't have delivery before, they have just on the fly created a delivery program, and it is not. It's not something that's so out there that you can't do it. There is a lot of financials involved with picking up and doing a delivery program, and then you have the staff. You have to staff it. We heard from Scott Wiener this week how he had to become the delivery driver because he didn't have the staff to do it. So there are a lot of opportunities, but there's a lot of challenges that you're going to have to address. So it's better to look as we sit here in September and look at those things and say, okay, how am I going to address this and what opportunities are out there? A lot of operators have really evaluated their online ordering and decided if does my current online ordering work? Is it efficient? Does it do everything I need to? If you are slam packed on a Friday night, and you're overloaded, do you have the ability to pause your online? Do you have the ability to put a stop on it just while your kitchen catches up? Because that's reflective on you to the customers that are out there, that you're not getting to them fast enough because you're overwhelmed. So they're looking at those kinds of things. Does the online ordering have all the features that I need? If it does not, it may be time to either look at the company you're going with and see if they have upgrade potential to get those features, and if not, it's time to maybe look at a new system. So that's going to be something that a lot of operators are going to have to think about within the next little bit.
If they're not thinking about it now, they need to get on it right away.
Yeah, absolutely. So other things, it's just, I'm a planner, and I think a lot of operators are planners, and it's going to force a lot of, kind of fly by the seat of their pants folks to sit down and just evaluate it and look at it, because now is the time to start planning ahead for these winter months, because it's going to be a hard winter if you don't.
Absolutely. And, speaking of a hard winter, Paulie Gee, when I spoke with him recently about his business, he had told me that he didn't necessarily love outdoor dining in the first place, because part of the allure to Paulie Gee's, in his opinion, is just the ambiance, the feel, the buzz, the noise of the music that he likes to play fairly loudly,
Yeah.
things like that. So he feels like all that is stripped away when someone's sitting out, on the sidewalk to the side of the building. Anyway, so he's not a big fan. He's not really a big fan of that anyway, even though he has certainly resorted to utilizing that right now.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people have. I mean, people are setting up dining tables on the street right now. So, that's not going to be the case when the snowplows have to get out in the north.
Right.
So,
Scott Wiener has sent photos to us from New York of pizzerias who, they have literally right outside their storefront, pretty much coming out to the street, have maybe used plants as a barrier, and large pots, things like that, a little aesthetically pleasing, and have set tables out there to serve their customers under an awning or under an umbrella with fans, things like that. So pizzerias have been resourceful, no doubt. They're going to have to continue the resourcefulness as we move into colder weather.
yeah, and they obviously have. I mean, we're getting ready for this big COVID-19 special report here in November.
Right.
The stories that I'm getting in, I mean, they are powerful of how people have adjusted and adapted and continue to do that. And that's who we are as an industry, and that's who these guys are. And I kind of can't wait to see how they shift once winter comes. And I look forward to hearing those stories. If you already have a plan in place for what's happening this winter, share it with us. Tell us all about it. We want to know.
Keep the stories pouring in. They've been inspiring. We've loved them. We want to receive more. Denise, how should they get these stories into you?
The best way to do it is just to email me at dgreer@pizzatoday.com. That's DGREER at pizzatoday.com.
All right. Well, hey, with that, I think we need to bring Mr. Paulie Gee on the line and delve into his story a little bit. He's got a good one.
Oh, absolutely. Let's just dive right into hearing from Paulie Gee.
Hey everyone, it's Katie, art director at Pizza Today, here to interrupt your podcast with a short commercial break. Figuring out how to do delivery right can be a daunting task, especially when it comes to third-party platforms, in-house delivery, contactless solutions, and POS functionality. Fortunately, the innovators at PDQ have developed the Delivery Toolkit app, a convenient single source that can measurably enhance all aspects of delivery while saving time, effort, and costs. Rooted in metrics, the multi-integrated PDQ Delivery Toolkit is a must-have resource for your store. Learn why at pdqdt.com or call 877-968-6430. That's 877-968-6430. And now, back to the slice.
So, Paulie, you spent many years in the corporate world, and then one day you decided, I'm going to go live a new dream. Talk a little bit about that.
Not one day.
Not one day?
Not one day. One decade.
One decade. Okay.
I picked a career in corporate information technology. I wasn't really suited for it, but that's where the future was supposed to be, and it was kind of cool to be involved in that. I was looking for something that I could, be proud of, and but I really wasn't a geek, and I entered a world of geeks, and as I tried to climb the corporate ladder, I realized that it was a lot harder for me because I really wasn't built like they were, but I did it for long time, 30 years.
Wow.
Because I was young and we started making commitments. We wanted to own a house. Now you have a mortgage. We want to have children. And, you kind of get trapped in that. And I thought for a long time I was going to keep rising, but I hit that glass, non-geek glass ceiling, right? And I started, thinking about doing other things. So, and it took me a long time. I became a consultant after 18 years working for AT&T and affiliated companies. And I went out, and that wasn't fun either as a consultant, because again, I wasn't a geek, and I'd wind up competing with people and having to go out of town to find work because I couldn't just sit home. And then I became determined to do something else, and I searched for different things. Um, I owe a great deal of credit to being a multi-level marketeer. My wife and I became Amway distributors in the mid '90s, and although it wasn't very lucrative for us, part of the process is to go to conferences and listen to motivational audio tapes and read motivational books, and it taught me to believe in myself and to make commitments. And it also taught me that when you're working for somebody else, you're working for somebody else's dreams.
Right.
And I was determined at that point to have my own business.
Did you know that that was going to take you into the pizza business? Was that always
None
the plan?
whatsoever. I thought it was going to take me to the top of the Amway world, right?
Yeah.
But things in that world kind of changed. Doesn't work for everybody, but in the mid '90s, because the internet came around, and that kind of changed everything. But I did know. I didn't think I wanted to open up a restaurant. What I used to do at home, I'd work all week, and I dream about entertaining people on the weekends, cooking for them, playing music for them, having parties. And but people would tell me, oh, you really seem to enjoy this. You should open up a restaurant. But it wasn't for me. I kept telling people, no, you don't know what you're talking about. But eventually, I knew I had to do something, and I was also a pizza enthusiast, which that kind of grew. For most of my life, I loved a good New York slice. That to me was pizza. But I discovered other styles of pizza also in the mid '90s, and we started going on pizza tours and trying out different styles of pizza, mostly in the New York area. Along the way, I had discovered that operating a pizzeria although it's challenging, it's a far simpler process than a restaurant, full service restaurant.
Oh,
And that
yes.
emboldened me, and it allowed me to start thinking about taking the risk, because you have to take risks, and I wasn't taking enough risks. I got the belief that I could do it. That was very important, because if you don't believe you can really accomplish something, you're not going to go through all of the pain that it takes to make it happen.
Right.
But I was given through the gift of observing other pizza makers who were successful, people like Mark Iacano of Lucale, Matthew Palombino of Motorino, Chris Bianco. Not Chris Bianco as much, because Chris Bianco was in the pizza world, his whole life, just about, or at least in the food world. But someone like Mark Iacano, when he was 38 years old, he had worked in some kind of marble countertop fabrication work or something. And he decided to open up a pizzeria, and he did it on a shoestring. And he worked 2.5 years building out his little space. And then within a week, he was the most popular pizzeria in New York, literally. And that emboldened me. I said, here's somebody who didn't go to culinary school, didn't go to Italy to learn how to make pizza, but he has really, made an instant success out of himself. And that helped me feel that, I could go ahead and take the chance.
And, Denise, Paulie had the same trajectory as well, because not long after Paulie Gee's was open, it was one of the hottest spots in the largest and hottest pizza city in America. That's crazy when you think about it.
Oh, that is crazy. And the fact that, coming from, the tech industry and coming in, I mean, your story is echoed by a lot of operators. A lot of operators are not, born into pizza families and continuing that dynasty and that legacy of pizza. They're coming from other places and saying, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go for it and give it a shot. And look what happened. You have one of the most popular pizzerias in the country.
And I believe the people who do that and are successful at it are because they're really doing what they love. When you're doing something that you love, it's not work, and you're good at it because of that. You're not. When I was in the corporate world, I was, I always had a boss to please, and now I just do what makes me feel good, and hopefully other people enjoy it. In my case, I did. I caught lightning in a bottle. Number one, because the time I started serving wood-fired Neapolitan-ish pizza, that was becoming, very popular. And additionally, I think because of my story, people liked to frequent my place because I'm just some, I wasn't like this big shot Italian pizza maker. I was just some guy that did what maybe they wanted to do, and they liked that. I was approachable.
Yeah,
You're right. Now go ahead, Denise.
Oh, I was going to say, I think one of the big draws that I personally think is really strong to you too is that whole approach you have where of your front of house. Now I know that's a little difficult in the COVID-19 times, but the fact that you like to engage with all of your clientele. I mean, you like to be there in the restaurant talking to people. Can you kind of tell us about those experiences a little bit?
Well, you hit the nail on the head when you said I'd like to be there. There are other people who do this. They run successful pizzerias, but they're not out front like that. I love that. I love meeting people, talking with people, sharing my ideas with them. So it's helpful. And that also brings me to be at the restaurant because you have to be there to make sure things are being done right. If it's not your place, people have a different mindset, and you have to, you can teach somebody to do something a certain way, but they have to have that motivation, and you have to motivate them by, maybe sometimes even embarrassing them. But one of the biggest things, I have to run my oven at like 1,000 degrees, and when I'm not there, I fear that that's not happening. But so being there because I'm there interacting with guests also allows me to keep an eye on what we're serving the guests, and I love that. It's not about money to me. So if I see that we served a pie to somebody that's not to my liking, I'll apologize to them and I'll say, listen, I have to take that from you and give you a new one. So, and people like that, and the other thing that I love to do is I love to be a pizza enthusiast in my restaurant, not a pizzeria owner. To me, it's not a business, first of all. It's just, it's my life. But the thing that I do is I'm always paying homage to other pizzerias. I always wear somebody else's hat. It's always a pizza hat from another pizzeria, never my own. And I think people sense that, it's really more about the pizza and the experience than me just making money. And the other thing I do is I play my music. I don't play background music in my restaurant. Okay. I play foreground music. Okay. And so that becomes an element that I'm offering people as well. The opportunity to listen to music, I think, is good. And it's also, there's some subliminal stuff going on there too, saying that it's not just about the pizza. And I think people like that.
Oh, absolutely. Jeremy, something I'm curious about. How many hats do you think Paulie has?
Well,
of other pizzerias.
All right, there are 365 days in a year. Paulie's got to take some days off and take a vacation. And you probably recycle a hat every once in a while. So I don't know, 40 hats maybe, Paulie?
Well, no. If you look on Paulie Gee's Pizza Hat Project on Instagram, you'll see I have about 265 or so hats that are considered pizza hats. Some of them are from products that go on my pizza. Some of them, may be from breweries whose beer we serve, but it's mostly pizzerias. And I don't have one for every day, but so and the hat always has to match the shirt. So, I rotate them around, but I get kind of close. You mentioned I take time off. When I take time off, I'm away from the pizzeria. That's when I wear my own hats. I have hats from Paulie Gee's Miami. I have hats from Paulie Gee's Short North. I have my own, Paulie Gee's Slice Shop hat. And that's when I wear those sometimes. But I have quite a few hats.
That's awesome.
I like it. The hat matches the shirt.
I have many more. I have hundreds more hats that are not pizza hats, but I had to go on a 12-step program because I realized since I'm in my pizzeria every day, I'm always wearing pizza hats. These other hats are going to waste. So I said, I'm only going to get pizza hats from now on.
That's amazing.
Hey everyone, it's Katie, art director at Pizza Today, here to interrupt your podcast with a short commercial break. Your friends at Message on Hold are happy to introduce our voice-over IP service. Message on Hold Phones is our solution for phone service. If the internet goes down, it's no problem. You can still take online and phone orders. No busy signal ever. Professionally recorded, customized messaging for your business ensures that your customer gets the message that you want delivered to them every time. Save money and get new phones. Visit www.messageonholdservice.com/phones. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. And now, back to the slice.
Who taught you how to make pizza in the first place? Before you opened a pizzeria commercially to sell to the public, how did you acquire the skills?
Well, I decided that I was going to open up a pizzeria, and I built an oven at home. I built a small Pompeii style oven. I got the plans for free from fornobravo.com. I got a friend of mine who had a passion for masonry, like I have a passion for pizza, to help me build the oven. And I built it, and I started proving to myself that I could actually make pizza. I started telling people I was going to open up a pizzeria because that, it was like no turning back now.
Yeah, I've got to do it now.
I just started experimenting. Right? I talked to people. I would talk to pizza makers. They'd give me a little bit of this and that, but mostly I would try different things. I would try different hydration levels. I would try different fermentation times, different types of yeast, and different topping combinations. And that was it. And then, even once I opened the restaurant, my pizza still had to improve. The stretching techniques got refined, and then I started bringing in people to make the pizza. And then I just went out and let them do it because they were going to be better than me anyway.
Now,
when you were, how difficult of a step is it to go from making the pizzas yourself to entrusting someone else to uphold your standards of what a quality pizza should be? Was that a hard thing to let go of?
No, it was fairly easy because I as I mentioned, I have this love for speaking with my guests, and it was becoming very frustrating. I set it up. As a matter of fact, it was an homage to this place, Lucali, that my friend Mark Iacono opened. In that I built it just like he did. He had like an altar. He had a marble tabletop where the dough was stretched, and he could look out into the room to see what was going on. And I thought that I was going to do the same thing. He's the one making pizza most of the time. I thought I was going to do the same thing. But being a conversationalist and being a person that, people read about me, they heard about me, they wanted to hear about my story. So in the middle of me trying to make pizza on a busy night, these people were coming up and wanted to talk to me, and I wanted to talk to them. And it was very difficult. And we got really busy. You said I got busy right away, but there were a few months before we started serving alcohol that, it was a little rough. But once we started serving wine and beer, it got really busy. And my pizza makers would say to me, go ahead, go out and schmooze. Don't worry, we got you covered. So I was going out enough that I didn't want to leave them shorthanded when we got busy. So I just hired an extra pizza maker. I put 3 pizza makers on the line. And from then on out, I would go out there and, and do what had to be done. Talk to the guests and change light bulbs, because apparently I'm the only one at Paulie Gee's that knows how to change a light bulb.
I feel your pain there.
Yeah, no joke. Paulie, something I'm curious about, because you're such a conversationalist. How have you been dealing with COVID-19 and not having dine-in guests to chat with? How are you filling that gap that you have with that?
Not very well. I got to the point now where, fortunately we have the outdoor dining. I can talk a little bit with the guests. The slice shop we have outdoor too, but I stay more at the wood-fired place. But I'm not dealing with it very well. Frankly, I decided, you know what? People ask me how things are going. I'm sick of saying, oh yeah, things are going good. They're not going good. So I tell people, I'm waiting to get inside. It's been frustrating. I use social media in a way to converse with people. You can comment online. Sometimes I get myself in trouble doing that.
Yeah.
You put something out there and it's out there forever, right? But it's been difficult. I really miss it, and more than just the conversation, it's the music. I love playing music. I have a playlist of 6,500 songs in the wood fireplace. And, I can't do that outside. The neighbors, I'm already infringing upon the neighbor's property line on both sides of me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be profitable at all, right? Or even break even. So I can't go out and play music out there. So I'm missing that as well. We need to get back to normal. And it's not going to be easy. People are still skittish. I have my crew. They don't want anybody, we can come in at 25%. They don't want anybody to come in. They say, they want them ordering at the outside window and then going into a side door in the back. It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I can see that.
What else do you want to talk about?
Something I'm interested in, Jeremy, I know that, Paulie has several licensed, is that right? Licensed, around licensed pizzerias around the country. I think our listeners would be interested in that because I think there are a lot of pizzeria operators that maybe want to grow and they don't know how to grow. And you've done it through licensing. And so can you kind of tell us why you went the licensing route and how you're able to keep that brand identity that people love so much with Paulie Gee's alive with the licensed?
Absolutely. I can tell you exactly why. But in addition to talking to operators who want to grow, I want to talk to people who are just dipping their little toe in the water to see if they want to do this, because I want to encourage them to do it. But what happened was, my plan was just to I was the guy. I was going to be one making the pizza. We got out of that, but I knew that I had to be there for my restaurant to work properly. I observed enough of restaurants where the owner was there. I talked to people, and I knew in my heart that you can't just start a business and go off and do something and have it be the same. But I was going to say, okay, I'll just be happy to start this, get all of the bills paid that I've accumulated over years of treating my family very well and making sure my kids grew up well and went on nice vacations and get those bills paid off, and I'd just be very happy. But once, I got some recognition and, we had some success, I felt that I owed it to the business. I owed it to I have some investors. I own 80% of my restaurant, but friends and family were very helpful. They put up 75% of the money, and I owed it to them to do something more. I think that they would like to have seen that. So, through multi-level marketing, again, one of the things that I learned, the way that business worked is you help yourself by helping other people. If you can help other people succeed, then you in turn would succeed. So I decided that I would take what I learned, and offer that to other people at a price. It would have to be a relationship where we had a friendly relationship. People had already been contacting me because, I went out and I talked to all the pizzeria owners who were doing what I wanted to do. And one of them I talked to was Chris Bianco in Phoenix. And if anybody's on here who doesn't know who Chris Bianco is, not only is he my pizza Yoda, but he's somebody you need to learn about. So get on your Google and get it done. I got to meet him. My son-in-law had a nice conversation with him right before we went to his pizzeria to eat. It was an hour before they opened, and we were drinking together. And I don't really remember much of anything, but I do remember him when I thanked him for his advice. I learned some other things that I remember too, but not a lot. I thanked him for all of his generosity and his encouragement. He said, "Paulie, don't thank me, just pay it forward." So, I took that to heart. I wasn't going to disappoint Chris if he asked me to do that. So people would the word got out. People would contact me. They'd want to come maybe work as an apprentice. They would just come and talk to me about how I did it and what advice I had. And so when I got this idea to help other people, I knew that there were people out there that would come to me, and I just waited for those people to present themselves. And if they were in the right city, that had the right neighborhood, that I felt our place would work well in, I would explore that with them. I had to form a licensing company, and even the lawyers kept on telling me, "Oh no, you got to do this." So that's what I did. And eventually, I found 4 people who wanted to change their careers. Well, 3 out of 4 wanted to change their careers. One was in healthcare management. One was a stock trader on the New York Exchange. One was a financial advisor, a personal financial advisor. And one was a hospitality major. He's the one that didn't change careers. He was young, just started. And that's, I took what we learned. We had to we put an operations manual together. We did all the things that the FTC said we had to do. But in the meantime, I built relationships with these people, and what I offered them was the ability to take my pizza, and start with that, and then grow on their own to create their own. So I don't want a Paulie Gee's place to have all the exact same pies as me. I want them to start with that as a crutch, and then go out and come up with pies that they want. When I make pizza, okay, I'm cooking for one person. You know who that is? When I cook at all, I'm cooking for one person. Do you know who that is?
I'm going to say you.
Yourself, Dak.
Yeah.
I cook for myself, and I make pizzas that I love, and if other people love it, great. If not, I never made a pie because I thought somebody would buy it that I didn't like it, and I want other people to do the same thing. So I really, what I was offering people, and what I still offer people, is entrepreneurship. And it's difficult for me. It's a challenge sometimes because I believe there's certain things I firmly believe in, and they don't see it that way, and they want to do things differently, and I gotta let them. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm wrong. I said I should have let them do this sooner, but it's difficult. The one thing that I try to get people to listen to, they don't know, I said never ever talk politics in a restaurant. Don't bring it up at all. Period. You're apolitical. Come hell or high water, don't do it. If somebody wants to talk politics and they insist, throw them out. Okay. But I can't get everybody to buy into that, and I can't get everybody to buy into not offering, specials and not specials, but deals. Right. I've never offered a deal to anybody. Do I give pizza away? I can't tell you how much stuff I give away, but it's after people have come and sat down and enjoyed themselves, and I want to thank them for coming. I don't want to say, I'm going to give you some free stuff so you come and have my pizza. And, but I do my best to instill that in other people, and, and they understand. So, but that's what I did, and I help people. I set them on their way, but they're the ones that have to go out and do what I did. You have to find a space. You have to, you have to deal with architects and lawyers and all of that. But I give them the opportunity to, to start their own place. A lot of people don't need me at all. If somebody comes to me, I've managed this restaurant and that restaurant. I said, I can't offer you anything. The people I want to help are people who were like me. They're in some other line of work and really love pizza and feel they want to do that.
I'm glad you mentioned Chris Bianco as well. Chris gave a really fantastic keynote address at International Pizza Expo a few years ago.
I was there.
And it was really, a lot of what you mentioned, he talked about paying it forward, sharing knowledge, things you're doing now. And speaking of keynotes, you were scheduled to deliver a keynote address at the Pizza Pasta Northeast show in Atlantic City in October. Unfortunately, that show was postponed this year due to the ongoing COVID pandemic. However, you're all lined up to come in next year and deliver the keynote address at the Pizza Pasta Northeast 2021 show in Atlantic City. So you've got a lot of time to prepare now. I'm sure you already...
I do. Well, no, I don't need to prepare at all. What I do, and you were very gracious to allow me to do this. I was so honored that you'd want me to be his keynote speaker, but I knew that the last thing I ever wanted to do was stand up and give a quote unquote address. That's why I'm in the corporate world. I used to be up all night the night before if I had to give a presentation to people, but I said that, if you want to do it in an interview format, I would love that. And you said, sure. And, this is what it would be like. And by the way, that's how Chris was like. Chris starts on something, and 20 minutes later, he's still running on. So maybe you could lengthen the time slot for that keynote, because you know.
Make it a full day.
we may need a 4-hour slot. You know, I'm only
Yeah.
asked 2 questions, and we may still be there.
And by the
Intensive
way,
keynote.
and I want to say something about that. First of all,
Yes.
I'm deeply honored that this would happen. This stuff like this is beyond my wildest dreams. Okay, and I also have to talk about being a boss, not having a boss. I'll get back to that. But the thing that I'm so happy about is that when I was in this multi-level marketing work for a few years, one of the things that they did was they paraded out people who had success doing what I wanted to do in that business. Right?
Sure.
They showed you that it's possible. They showed you, you know, what people did. And this is giving me an opportunity to show people who think that maybe they want to have their own place or they want to expand their pizzeria and help other people open it. Show them that it's possible, because the two things that you believe to make things happen in this life is you need belief and you need commitment. Okay.
Absolutely.
If you want to open up a pizzeria, but you don't think maybe you could do it, the second time you run into an obstacle, you know, a serious obstacle, you're not going to fight through it. You're not going to overcome it because I'm not going to, you know, why bother? It's not going to happen anyway. But once you've given yourself the belief that you can have it, and you think that having it is going to make your life better, you're going to fight through it. So I want to give other people the belief that they can go out and they can open up their own place. Okay. And, you know, that's really a special thing for me if I could do that. You know,
for somebody who's in that boat, because there are a lot of people who would love, who have that romantic notion of operating a restaurant, specifically a pizzeria, and they'd love to do it, but maybe they don't have the capital necessary. They don't have the financial wherewithal at this time to go make that dream happen. What's your advice for someone in that boat that they really want to get involved, they just don't have the money?
If they have the passion to do it and could demonstrate that passion to people, they do have the capital. Okay, because all of the people that invested in me, they all turned out to be friends and family. Okay, I went to a number of people. First of all these people came to my pizza tastings and saw how much I wanted to do this. They saw how good my pizza was. At least they thought it was, right? I look back now and I say, oh my God, what was I doing, right? But they saw that. But I went to a lot of other people. I lived in an affluent town in central New Jersey, and I knew a lot of the people through my son's sports activities. And I went to all of these people. I mean, these people had serious money, right? And I had a business plan put together, and I showed it to them, but they were all very cool to it. And they all asked me this one question, okay? And I knew I didn't want to give them that answer. They said, what about you? Do you have any skin in the game? And frankly, I had no skin in the game. I had nothing. All I had was, bills, right? But I knew I had to do something about that because I knew they were right. I saw that nobody's going to invest in me if I'm not willing to take a risk myself. But I wasn't going to let that stop me, okay? Nothing was going to stop me. So, I talked with my wife, and I found two people who wanted to invest in me. Two people I worked with, people who came to my house, a coworker and my boss's wife, boss's husband, actually. So I knew that I had two people interested. I said, at this point, I said, we have some equity left in our house. Not a lot, because I wasn't doing what I was meant to do in this life. I wasn't financially successful, but I continued to live the life for my family that I wanted them to lead, right? So I had lots of bills, and I would take these credit card bills, roll them into my mortgage. And, my mortgage was almost 3 times what it was when I bought the house 35 years ago, right? So, but I still had some equity in the house thanks to, inflation and the price of houses going up, right? And I had to do this. And my wife, she saw that I wasn't going to be happy unless we do this. And she, we agreed. She allowed me to take this chance, and I took out some money. I had a line of credit. Okay. I'm not going to tell you how much it was, but it was a very significant amount of money, right? I took half of it as seed money, and the other half I invested. I made 2 great investments in my life. Okay. This is one of them. I invested in sleeping medication with the other half of the money. Okay. Meaning I knew that if I do this thing, there are going to be things that I didn't plan for that are going to come about and are going to cost money, right?
Right.
And the fact that I knew that if I had to draw upon that other half of the line of credit I had allowed me to sleep at night. So the sleeping medication was a great investment. Okay. The other investment I made, and it wound up propelling me, and really this is important. I invested in videotape. Okay. Videotape was my greatest investment. Okay. Because over the many years with my family going on vacation, I took videotape all the time and I had all of these memories. But that videotape was documenting the life that I gave my family that I couldn't afford to give them. Okay. And then because I couldn't afford it and I had all of these bills I had to pay, I was propelled. I said, I got to get these bills paid. I'm a man of my word. I would never, borrow money from somebody and not pay them back. And that propelled me. But the important thing financially, getting back to, what people want to hear, is that I had to have some of my own skin in the game. And that's important. I require that of people. Now, if they want to open up a Paulie Gee's, I want them to have 20% of their own money. I don't care how you get it, but it has to be not in exchange for equity. Let it be, your money. So that was very important. And then what I was able to do, I figured out, I was able to sell a percentage of the business for each $10,000, you get X percent, right? And I paid people back in an accelerated fashion when we finally did start making a profit, which was a great way to do it for me. Because, if you go borrow money to start a business, the bank is waiting there on day one. You open your doors, whether you're making money or not, they're taking their payment, right? By going with all these friends and family who were patient and wanted to, they were really doing this to see me succeed and be part of it. They were patient, and I was able to pay them when we finally had profits to distribute. But what I did was I paid them out in an accelerated fashion. But when all was said and done, even though they put up 75% of the capital, and I put up 25%, I own 80% of the restaurant. Okay. And I was able to fund the slice shop I opened strictly on the profits from the wood fire place. And I own 80% of that. And they own 20% of each of those places. And they couldn't be happier.
Well, they're getting a return on their investment, no doubt.
They are. They're getting a nice return on their investment. And you know what? And I don't have people like, I'm not an asset on somebody's balance sheet. They're part of, they see me on TV or something. They know that without them, that couldn't have happened. And I for the rest of my life, I could not thank them all enough for believing in me.
That's a great story.
You have that passion. They saw the passion in me. So getting back to the answer, if you show people that you really love this and you're serious about it, you thought about it, and nothing's going to stop you, you will find people who will invest in you.
That's a great story, Denise. The passion is definitely shining through as Paulie speaks. You can hear it oozing from him. The passion is there.
Absolutely, and I think that this podcast is a great lead up to Pizza and Pasta Northeast next year. If y'all want to hear more from Paulie Gee, you got to get to Pizza and Pasta Northeast and hear that whole story, because you are just an amazing man. You have just a beautiful story, and I just can't wait to hear the full version.
We got pretty close to an hour anyway. So.
Yeah, we've got to save something for in person.
There you go. And I have more.
Sure.
I have more, and hopefully I'll have even more by that time.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks so much, Paulie, for coming on the show. And we just can't wait to follow. We can't wait to see what's next for you. We'll definitely in the show notes put links to your Instagram and your website and some of your stories so that people can read more about you as well.
And I look forward to sharing it so that they learn more about you as well.
All right. Thank you so much,
By the way,
Paulie.
you said I can't wait. You must mean I can hardly wait.
I can hardly wait. Yes.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Believe
Thanks.
me, I enjoyed this 10 times as much as you.
Oh, awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you
Paulie.
so much. Take care.
You.